All right, we're on the middle of page 262 where it says modeling algebraic expressions. These models are a little bit tricky to understand. It's a pretty abstract concept. I want you to do your best to pay attention to what I'm going to show you here, but I don't want you to stress out too much about it. If at the end of these types of problems you feel like you don't understand, you could always ask for some more help. But I don't want you to worry about failing quizzes or tests because of not understanding these models. There may be one question about these models on the quiz and the test, but it won't be that big a deal. It's not the main idea behind the lesson. All right, so pay attention. Algebraic expressions can be represented with models. The directions say use a bar model to represent each expression. So this expression right here is 7 plus x. So what we can think of is we're going to need 7, and so they give you 7 of these little squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they use this symbol right here to show you that that's 7. That makes sense. And then x is I don't know how big, so they give you a chunk here and they call it x. And then 7 plus x would be when you take those 7 and you combine it with the others. So the whole answer there is 7 plus x. Hopefully that model makes a little bit of sense to you. Z over 3. What does z over 3 mean? Z over 3 means z is the total and is being divided into 3 chunks. So if this whole model right here is called z, then what we need to do is we need to split that into 3 sections. And each of those sections would be z after it had been divided 3 times. So each chunk there is z divided by 3. All right. Again, I know those are tricky, but we're going to do our best. I'm going to help you on the your turn. So go ahead and turn the page. We're now on page 263. It says draw a bar model to represent each expression. And the first one says t minus 2. So we're going to need to take away 2. And in order to take away 2, we have to draw 2. So draw 2 little chunks here. And that's 2. And then the whole thing would be t. So draw this symbol right here. And so what's left? I think I'm going to re-explain this. I think I'm going to draw t first. I'm going to explain it this way. The whole thing here would be t, and then we're going to take away 2. So I'm going to chunk out 2. And so what's left, this section right here, what's this section called? Well, this is when we had t but then took 2 away. So that's the way that model should look. Number 8 is 4 times y. Well, what I'm going to do here is that since I know 4 times y is going to be my answer, I'm going to go like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 y's here. And I'm going to just kind of divide this whole thing into 4 even sections. And each of them is called y. Because how many y's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I have 4 of those, 4 times y looks like this, 4y. So this is the answer to this one, and this is the answer to that one. Again, I know they're abstract. Do your best. We're actually going to move on and finish page 263. We'll practice 2 more models at the top of page 264. All right, so we're on the middle of page 263 right now. I'm going to rewrite the page right here to make sure you understand where we are. It says comparing expressions using models. Algebraic expressions are equivalent if they are equal for all values of the variable. For example, x plus 2 and x plus 1 are equivalent. And the reason why is because if you do 1 plus 1, you get 2. So this would actually be x plus 2. And of course, x plus 2 is equal to x plus 2. All right, let's move on. Example 3 reads, Katriana and Andrew started the day with the same amount of money. Katriana spent $5 on lunch. Andrew spent $3 on lunch and $2 on a snack after school. Do Katriana and Andrew have the same amount of money left? It says, write an algebraic expression to represent the money Katriana has left. Represent the expression with the model. And she started the day with a certain amount of money. And then she spent 5. So how much does she have left? Well, if she spent 5, that means this is gone. So if it's gone, she doesn't have x anymore. She has x minus 5. So that's how much money she has left. Now let's go down and check out Andrew's. Write an algebraic expression to represent the amount of money Andrew has left. Represent the expression with the model x minus 3 minus 2. Pay attention to what it says about Andrew. It says that he started with x. They started with the same. And then he spent 3. Oops. He spent 3 and he spent 2. Well, one thing you need to recognize is that if you add up all the money he spent, 3 plus 2, you'd get 5. So they look a little different, but they're the same. This amount right here, x minus 5, is the same as x minus 3 minus 2, because if you take away 3 and you take away 2, you take away 5. So they're the same thing. So I'm going to actually at the bottom right, I think they wrote it for us. The models are equivalent, so the expressions are equivalent. Andrew and Katrina have the same amount of money left. Now, how could you have figured that out from the model? She spent $5, and he spent 3, and he spent 3 and 2. So hers looks like x minus 5, and his looks like x minus 3 minus 2. But if you combine the minus 3 and the minus 2, it's a total of minus 5. So they spent the same amount. All right, we're going to do one more problem on this video. We're going to go ahead and do the your turn on the top of page 264. After this problem, we'll be done with this video and we'll start a new video for the next section. Your turn, number 9. On a math quiz, Tina scored 3 points more than Julia. Juan scored 2 points more than Julia and earned 2 points in extra credit. Write an expression and draw a bar model to represent Tina's score and Juan's score. Did Tina and Juan make the same grade on the quiz? And explain. So we can put Tina as the first person. We could put Tina on the left. And then Juan is the second person. And there's a third person here named Julia, and they're both being compared to Julia, but we're not trying to figure out Julia's score. All we know about Tina's score is that she scored 3 points more than Julia. So that's going to be whatever the score is. I'm going to just call it y, and then you add 3. 3 points more than Julia means add 3 to y. So how could we make that look? Well, y plus 3 is the whole thing. And so if we're going to add 3 to it, we got to have 3 here over here on the right, like at the end. And so her score is 3 added to whatever y is. So we're going to call this one y, and we're going to call that 3. So it's y plus 3. Now, how did Juan do? Well, Juan got 2 points higher than Julia. It says right here, Juan scored 2 points more than Julia. So that's going to be y plus 2. And earn 2 points in extra credit. Is that going to be the same thing? Well, Juan earned 2 points more than Julia, so that looks like this. And Juan earned 2 points in extra credit. And this one's y. Are those the same? Well, y plus 3 is not going to be the same as y plus 2 plus 2. Did Tina and Juan make the same grade on the quiz? Explain. No. Juan earned 1 point more than Julia. Not more than Julia, than Tina. Juan earned 1 point more than Tina. Because over here, the y's are the same, but 4 is more than 3. So that's 1 more point than Tina. All right. Great job on the models. We are done with this video.